I want to get a little bit nitty gritty with you. Like, how do you actually structure your experiments? Do you have like a Notion board and everybody kind of ideates and then you decide who, which experiments are the ones that you can prioritize? Like, what's that actually look like in practice for you?
Yeah, so yeah, so it really depends on like what the problem is we're trying to solve. And again, I try and step away from like channel problems or tactical problems unless that's like a specific department or infrastructure that the business has built that they need to then build upon. So, in speaking to that, it's like, okay, we've established that we are going to spend X amount on Facebook every month. Now we need to go and build an experimentation process. If that's not the case in your organization and you're just looking to experiment across the board, I try and remove the process from actual tactical channels or applications as much as possible to begin, because we'll get to that. So for me, the first thing is like, okay, how well do I know my customer? And some people think, well, I know my customer, I've spoken to them, I have Google Analytics set up, I understand the customer. I'm going to frustrate you a little bit and tell you haven't done enough research on your customer. You need to take a step back and actually speak to them. And one of the challenges that I've seen is like so many of the people that I speak to, the majority, if not all of them, they're digital marketers. And so I think one of the problems that digital marketing has created is it's created a barrier between us and our customer, right? When we look at our data, like these people have become clicks and impressions and pixels. And whereas when it came to brick and mortar, you would know them, right? You would know these people and have a relationship with them. So the first thing I would say is go and reestablish that relationship and actually understand who you're speaking to. Whether you don't have time to do user interviews and you just want to do a survey, that's something you should be checking in with your customer quarterly, biannually, whatever cadence makes sense to you. Make sure you get data, not just on their demographics and sort of that surface level stuff, because I really don't think that's as important anymore, unless you're using that to target demographically in some of your marketing channels. But more importantly, like spend time doing user interviews with people who have just successfully purchased your solution or just unsuccessfully purchased your solution. Walk through that journey. There's a great framework, Jobs to Be Done, that sort of takes you through the entirety of the user journey and helps you pick out, okay, what are the driving forces behind their purchase? What sort of objections and obstacles did they face while going there? By dissecting actual successful and unsuccessful customers, hopefully you'll be able to draw out some sort of persona map and sort of get into the psyche of, okay, what was the driving force behind this person purchasing with me, or what was missing for them to be able to purchase from me? So that's the first thing. Without good customer data, your entire testing process is going to be really, really poor. I can promise you off the gate. So let's assume you did that successfully. Congratulations. You now have a really awesome customer persona. The next thing I would do is say, okay, for that customer, and I'm speaking specifically to channels here, you can go through the same framework with specific channel tactics, but where does this customer exist? What channels would I find this customer? And so I'd kind of break it down into two things. It's like, one is generic channels where like all customers are. And then two is like contextual channels where do people in this category or people who shop in this category think about this consideration? So I'll give you an example. Let's take pet food. Where do people think about pet food, right? What's a contextual channel for pet food? Well, like the vet's office, there's the dog park, there's like pet food stores, there's going to events or like dog shows, things like that. Those are contextual channels that when you're brainstorming, okay, what channel should I be marketing on, you start to get into the psyche of the customer and figure out where they're going to be. Then on generic customers, it's like, okay, well, where are all dog owners? Well, like everyone today is on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and Reddit to some degree. So you put those all into some sort of map. For us, I like to use Asana, but you can do the same thing in pretty much any sort of, you can do it in a Google Sheet, you can do it in whatever solution makes sense for you. Go and rank those channels based on the ICE framework. So impact, confidence, ease. So impact being how impactful would this channel be if it actually worked? Confidence being how confident am I, or what data points do I have to tell me that this is going to be successful? And ease is how easy is it for me to go and complete the MVP of this experiment? And so you want to go and sort of add a metric to each of those buckets from a score of 1 to 3. You can sort of set up whatever scoring system you want. The important thing is that you establish criteria for what a 1 impact looks like, a 2 impact looks like, a 3 impact looks like, etc. The benefit of growth mentors is like you can work with your mentors and their experience to sort of get their gauge on like how impactful do you think a channel like this would be? How confident are you this is going to work? how do I build an MVP to make this easier to execute? That's the benefit of mentors, right? Is like they help you calibrate those scores and get to the right solution quicker. And so once you have those channels laid out, you have them scored, be honest with yourself about how much time you have. Do I have time to test one channel a month? Do I have time to experiment with 2 or 3 channels a month? And obviously that's based on your own bandwidth and how much bandwidth you have across your team. And so choose those channels and then set out some decision criteria for you on like, okay, what does success look like? If I am successful on this channel, let's say the channel is partnerships with vets, partnerships with vet offices, and I want to make that my channel. Well, okay, success to me looks like 3 or 4 vets agreeing to recommend my product. And from those vets, I get a total of 20 sales in the next month. You want to make sure you have success criteria because I've been there, you've been there. There's like that internal dialogue that happens once you start running the experiment where it's like, oh, well, it's kind of working. I see like this vet's doing really good, but I don't see sales, but he keeps telling me he's going to sell 5 bags of dog food tomorrow. Make sure you have success criteria first so you don't get into that internal speech. And then go through the process of, okay, what are all the different variables that are going to impact this experiment that I need to validate in the next month in order to figure out, okay, is vets offices the right thing for us to experiment with today? So maybe it is, okay, I need to talk to X number of veterinarians in order to make this statistically significant. Maybe I need to try giving pamphlets in one office just so that I leave some marketing collateral. Maybe I need to get phone numbers from customers. So like, you just want to make sure that you're exhausting all of the options. The same goes for like a platform like TikTok. Like exhaust all the targeting options, exhaust all the media buying options that exist there, exhaust the various creative verticals, so whether it's like UGC or professional video, etc. Whatever you feel like, whatever boxes you need to check to figure out whether or not that experiment's successful, and just run through that process and do it with one channel and then do it with the next. And every time you run one of those tests, make sure you're doing a post-mortem to document what's working and what's not working. Put it back in your Asana, and then make sure you use that to apply to your next experiment. And that's kind of what we do with Cotton. That's a similar process that I've used throughout my career, and I've actually walked a few different mentees on Growth Mentor with, which is like, how do we build this together? How do I give you my experience, which hopefully doesn't bias the process too much, but maybe I'm able to give you a little bit more confidence in some of the data points I'm providing, and just give you a framework where like, I know you're not going to be successful 100% of the time. No great marketer is, but at least I can give you a roadmap for, okay, what are all the channels we're going to be testing in the next 3 to 6 months? And how will I know if I'm doing a good job or whether or not there's channel market fit for us?